You want to see the people that have lived here continue to live here and thrive, right? Yes? Then you need to help me show the world that Puerto Rico town could be an example, a model for the rest of the state and nation on how we're able to celebrate cultural diversity, the identity of one community, its beauty, its people, its passion, develop economic development, and fight displacement. Like, whoa, that sounds beautiful and super duper hard. But when Jose se le mete algo, when Jose is committed to something, Jose doesn't stop until it gets done. That love and passion of the Puerto Rican agenda, that love and passion of the people of Humboldt Park, to make sure that we have a beautiful place like this museum, a gorgeous Division Street with banderas that have been there for 25 years, with a commitment to be able to be proud, to be in love of culture, and to keep it for decades and generations to come. When you make that commitment, you know you just gotta be creative, talk to a lot of your colleagues, and figure out a way to make sure that it happens. Well, we did it. In about a year and a half, Governor, we keep doing these first things. I think folks should be looking from other states, but the first state in the entire nation to establish state-designated cultural districts. It means that they will have the state designation. And be Puerto Rico town, be Bronzeville, be parts of the west side, be Chinatown, be Central Illinois, wherever it is, a community can come together, apply through the Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity for the state designation, and then work with the state to ensure the vibrancy of the community, the vibrancy of the people, and to be a place that is inclusive, not exclusive, to all that come in. So that when you go down Division Street, if you can't make it to Puerto Rico, you can enjoy the best Puerto Rican food, the most amazing music and theater, and you can see housing that is truly something we are proud of, affordable, yes, high quality, yes. This is what moments like this make possible, and I have to say a thank you to Senator Aquino, to Pastor Oblazo, right here, Senator Pachimonita, to Representative Camille Lilly, the chairman of Museum and Tourism, who made and helped make this happen, to Representative Ma, to Senator Simmons, and everyone who made sure we passed it out of the House and the Senate, and we could be here today. So, as I step back, I want to also highlight someone who came in 3 years ago, and I think we were here actually in this museum as he was launching his campaign to be our governor. Someone that said, I will fight and work alongside with you, not in front of you, not behind you, but alongside of you, because Humboldt Park represents community across the state. This man made it possible for all of us today to celebrate state-designated cultural districts as a method to economic recovery and to thrive. So help me as we welcome the one, the only, the compassionate, the partner, the champion, Governor J.D. Pritzker.
Thank you so much. I have not received that kind of a phenomenal introduction in some time. I want to say to Leader Ramirez, thank you for your leadership in Springfield. Thank you for your friendship as well, and thank you for welcoming me back to Humboldt Park. While Chicago is home to several premier art institutions, the National Museum of Puerto Rican Arts and Culture is a jewel. Embodies the vibrancy and the diversity of this city, of this state, of this nation. Your collection celebrates the best of Puerto Rico's identity and heritage, rooted in the neighborhood that it calls home. And I want to thank Billy for his leadership. And my administration is proud to continue the support of this museum with funding from our Rebuild Illinois Museum Grants Program. I want to recognize some of the great people that I get to work with in Springfield and others. First, let me recognize Senator Christina Pasiones. Especially for her work with Leader Ramirez to shape the rich diversity of the state that we all call home, to make sure that it is recognized and celebrated. And as well, their General Assembly counterparts that are here, our Majority Caucus Whip, Omar Aquino. Senator Mike Simmons. Representative Teresa Ma. And Representative Camille Lilly. And of course, I want to also thank Jesse Fuentes, the co-chair of the really helping to foster and preserve cultural legacies in communities across Illinois, not to mention this one we're standing in right here. Today's celebration builds upon this museum's mission by not only encouraging cultural education, but empowering communities to honor their unique identities and significant contributions to the state of Illinois. So thanks to the efforts of the Latino Caucus and so many advocates, some of you sitting in the audience today, cultural districts in Illinois can receive an official state designation status, opening the door to new economic development while protecting cultural traditions for generations to come. And that work begins with you and all of the people of Illinois. Alongside the bill's sponsors, I'll be appointing 4 individuals representing the rich tapestry of Illinois to help guide our Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity on the criteria for state recognition. If you or someone you know is passionate about helping communities preserve and promote their traditions, languages, and cultural identities, with a focus on neighborhoods with a history of disinvestment, learn more about this opportunity to get appointed to this commission, because it is very important that we get people who are interested in furthering the cause here. And you can, to learn more about it, you can go to appointments.illinois.gov online, appointments.illinois.gov, and just search for cultural districts. And you'll see the description of this, as well as the opportunity to fill out a form and make yourself available, or someone you know, recommend to them that they go to this website as well. Again, I'm going to tell you what the website address is. Appointments.illinois.gov, and just search for cultural districts. You'll see we have lots of other commissions, committees, boards that you can volunteer yourself for, and I hope you will. But today, I want to highlight this important board to all of you. Historic landmarks, neighborhood celebrations, inclusive entrepreneurship, these are distinctions that keep communities strong, and the result is a more prosperous and a diverse future for our state. As we mark the end of Hispanic Heritage Month, we're ensuring that inclusion is integral to what it means to live in the state of Illinois. Our state's strength lies in its diversity. And thanks to the Latino Caucus and advocates, we're taking yet another step to help protect the rich history of our cultural communities while providing the tools that they need to grow and thrive. Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you, Governor. You've truly been a champion, and we are extremely excited to continue our work together. It is a pleasure to introduce our very own Senator. He has been an advocate, a champion, a voice, a man of the people in the Senate. He never forgets his district, because that is the commitment he made to his district. It is my absolute pleasure to introduce to you our Senator, Omar Aquino.
Thank you, Jesse. Thank you, Governor, for being here in the 2nd Senate District and also in Hyde Park. I'm not going to forget the district because this is home. And I actually, just an aside, I got married just right there and had my first day. I actually, 11 months before that, met her behind us at an event and fell in love with her the moment I met her. And I get married here, so Billy, I had to give him a call. But all jokes aside, my family has been in this community for over 60 years, just a few blocks away on Augusta and Rockwell, and we don't plan to go anywhere. Let's talk a little bit about the importance of this now law of cultural districts, specifically for this community. This is about making sure that every place in the state of Illinois can have a main street highlighted in their community. And each one of us has that. As a Puerto Rican community in Humboldt Park, we have that main street. It's called La División. Just right there. It's anchored by two massive, beautiful, waving, that's steel, but waving flags of Puerto Rican flags from one end to the other. But it's also anchored by great institutions and people that serve and live in this community. Educational institutions like Roberto Clemente, Aviso Campos. Art institutions like the place that we are standing here today of the National Puerto Rican Museum of Arts and Culture, and the soon to have Nancy Maldonado Arts Center just a little bit away. Great small businesses, and a small business development center, and right across the street we have it's sort of an incubator place that I invite everyone, especially on the weekends, to go at Medigatito, which is on the Division in Rockwell. Come support our small businesses. As said earlier, if you can't make it to Puerto Rico comes on the Division. So if you want some great food, we have Nelly's, we have a number of other places that you can come and have a great meal, and we'll bring Puerto Rico to you. If you want some coffee, Café Colao is right there to warm you up, especially when it starts getting cold. But it's about highlighting these locations that to make sure that not only are we recovering from this pandemic that we currently are still in, but not only surviving, but thriving. But the only way you are able to do that is if people can stay in their homes. Right. So having affordable housing for veterans, for seniors, for all is very important. And we have that here anchored in Paseo Igual and Puerto Rico town. And we hope to continue to do more. But you also need to make sure that people are healthy. And we have one of the greatest institutions here of Humboldt Park Health that, yes, was just announced is going to have $20 million investment. So, Governor, we love to invite you to Humboldt Park, our little piece of Puerto Rico here. I'm inviting you again, just a couple blocks away soon, because we are going to put a shovel in the ground to make sure that that investment from the state of Illinois is going to go into that wellness center very, very soon. It was my honor to be first asked to be the chief sponsor for this bill, and it was even a greater honor to pass it on to someone that I knew could take this bill and make it into law. That I knew that she would work like no other, maybe small in stature, in height rather, but certainly there's no one bigger in being a champion for her community and for her people, and you definitely are not going to keep her quiet. She has recently gotten into the Senate, and she has done so much amazing things in the little time she's been there, and I hope that she stays there for a very, very long time, because it's going to be a benefit for our community. She is what we call her La Doctora, because we are proud of our people. She's a product of this community. Not once, but twice, or 3 times educated from the University of Illinois. So without further ado, the chief sponsor in the Senate, the person, along with Leader Ramirez, is the reason that we're here today, celebrating this law, La Doctora, Senator Cristina Cassiano.
podium is better than the last time. I didn't have to bring, I now carry a stand with me, because you just never know. I make my own equity, right? So it's a rare opportunity to be on both sides of the equation when solving for systemic problems, and then also being able to quarterback the community-driven solutions in government. As former co-chair of the Puerto Rican agenda, we heard the alderman say we started working on this bill well before me joining the General Assembly, and it was right here in the heart of the Puerto Rican community where the bill emerged. In December 2020, I was sworn in to finish the term of my trailblazing predecessor, now clerk of the Cook County Circuit Court, Iris Martinez, who was the first Puerto Rican woman to hold the position. One month later, I landed on the Senate floor, introduced this bill, spent a few months refining it with my colleagues, and championing my first session alongside my sister in the House from the Northwest Side, Leader Delia Ramirez, and also my Boricua brother, Leader Aquino. And so although the genesis of this bill comes from Humboldt Park, in an effort to preserve our Puerto Rican identity, our legacy, our right to stay in this community that we helped to create, its essence speaks to anyone and everyone who has experienced being pushed out, being erased, or being ignored. And it is a clear example of taking a painful reality of displacement and disinvestment in communities across Illinois. You know, I've heard it said over and over again, and I think that this is a manifestation that culture and arts is not just like anemic ornamentation. It is life vitality. It is economic prosperity. This is why we have so many colleagues and those who couldn't be with us today that signed on to the bill, that immediately understood the bill's intent and ultimately its desired impact. Whether it was the Polish enclave in southern Illinois, or the black farmers in Pembroke and Kankakee County, or the long-standing Asian community in Chinatown, people saw themselves in this bill. And see, the folks who are the closest to the problems are usually the ones who generate the best solutions. And we honor that wisdom in this legislation, and we'll continue to honor it further through the implementation process, because that's one thing that people are starting to learn about me in the General Assembly. I don't just pass a bill. I sit down and I make sure that bill gets implemented, and I roll up my sleeves and do that dirty work with folks, because it's messy and it's complicated and it is going against a system and a status quo. But you have to also do that work. We can't just say checkbox and then move on to the next thing. And that's why the appointments for the advisory committee are now on their way, and I'm proud to be serving with Leader Ramirez. And we're going to make sure that the voices and the lived experiences of those who will benefit from this are centered in the decision-making processes, in the criteria. And it's no coincidence that we are celebrating the bill signing as we close the formal celebration of Latinx Heritage Month, which many of us celebrate, honor, and uplift on a daily basis, whether it's looking at our contributions, honoring the sacrifices that we make, but it's just another example of how Latinos contribute to the rich history of this state for the benefit of all of its inhabitants by giving this gift of the legislation to the state of Illinois. It emerged from right here. It is a testament to the wisdom of this community and the wisdom of any community when we anchor ourselves and root ourselves in it. And so thank you, Governor, for signing the legislation, for being thrilled. He pulled me to the side and he was like, I love it. about what we can do with it, and especially to the community that it was birthed from. You know, you all flank us every single day. We are accountable to you. We are definitely emerging from these spaces, understanding our responsibility, but our duty and our joy to serve. So, estoy aquí siempre a la orden, como digamos en Puerto Rico. Thank you.
Don't be too concerned with what's in the box. We'll get there. This journey has been long, and it is a privilege to stand here in celebration with champions both in the House and the Senate and our Governor, J.B. Pritzker. Before we close, though, I want to take a journey in reflection because a lot has happened in the last 3.5 years. What we know about this community is that we never stopped working. Over 3 years ago, the Puerto Rican agenda birthed this legislation, and it all began at our housing summit. Many of you who are sitting in this room were sitting in that room with us then, strategizing around the sustainability of our community. At that summit, there were 2 problems we wanted to address: historic disinvestment and the onslaught of gentrification in this community. The only way to ensure the sustainability of our community was to be informed by equity and the voices of the people that impact this trajectory. We all left the summit with a plan that would grapple with issues with boots on the ground, pens to paper producing policy, and relationship building with elected officials that would champion this bill. And there are 3 dynamic champions that we have the privilege to work with: State Representative Leader Delia Ramirez, Senator Omar Aquino, and Senator Cristina Pacheco. Pens to paper produced this legislation, and we are honored to have our governor with us here to celebrate the passing of this law. Before we leave here today, I want to reflect and honor those with boots on the ground. There are 5 sectors of our working Puerto Rican agenda that we have taken on. 5 sectors that have come a long way: arts and culture, economic development, education, health, and housing. Let's talk about this work that's being done. We are here at the National Museum of Puerto Rican Arts and Culture, where we get to celebrate every day who we are, where we come from, and where we dream to be. Billy has led this institution with dignity and collaboration. By the way, he has plans on building another facility right across the parking lot. We see the We also have the Boathouse Gallery in the park. Raquel Maldonado, I see you. Thank you for always allowing us space in this park. Their culture and their creative minds and show it to the world. We are also in the process of discussing a walkable outdoor gallery of Puerto Rican heritage led by Así Somos. We have Ada Lopez. And our senator mentioned it earlier, but we have the Franco Arts Building. If you take a drive down Division Street, you see it going up so quickly like Legos. That building will provide 24 affordable housing units to artists in this community, anchored by Argentine. We are proud of the work that our arts and culture sector has been able to achieve. Because without the celebration of being able to tell our counter narrative, community sustainability is not possible.
The state-designated cultural district law will provide communities with the bandwidth to create commercial corridors. We have ours. You see it between the two biggest Puerto Rican steel flags you'll see anywhere around the world. Here at Humboldt Park, we are proud to have begun supporting small business owners. It was also mentioned earlier, but if you have not visited El Huerto del Mercado, Jose will call you a delincuente, so I suggest you get there. We've been supporting 17 small business vendors who are engaging in a process to receive their business licenses so they can take up the vacant storefronts on Division Street and we can really talk about economic development and growth. Several of us are in discussion and are strategizing to ensure the viability of our businesses. We are planning on creating a micro-landing community business initiative. Some of you all may recognize that type of initiative as credit unions. We are talking about supporting the process of our own small businesses, giving them those loans, be able to create a process that is humane, that is equitable, and that is just and truly talks about community sustainability. Through creative financing, we will ensure that every vacant building within this commercial district will be utilized for our small business owners. More importantly, we know what 2 to 4 flats look like in our community. We need to take up commercial spaces, but we also need to make sure that we provide affordable housing units on top of those spaces for our small business owners. The Puerto Rican agenda, alongside many educators in this community, and one of them, Celio Mojica, principal of Roberto Clemente Community Academy, has joined us today, are working on an urban education initiative that will develop an aligned curriculum for many of the area schools, with Roberto Clemente Community Academy and International Baccalaureate School being the hub and school of choice. We believe that creating a seamless pipeline from pre-K to college and beyond will ensure that all of our young people see a future here in this community. I can't tell you enough how many times I was told that the only way I was going to make it is if I made it out. We want them to make it in. To get it here. The next CEO, the next principal, we need our young people to stay. We must create an educational system that ensures that they stay, and we are doing that work. It is no secret, it's been announced 2 terms, so I'll announce it for the 3rd time. We got a $50 million investment commitment to build the Humboldt Park Health. It is no secret, our community suffers the highest rates of diabetes, high blood pressure, asthma, because we don't have food justice. For a very long time, we didn't have equitable health systems. So under the leadership of Jose Sanchez, I feel lucky to be in a room with some trailblazing folks, not just our elected officials, but you all, the folks with boots on the ground. Today I feel the same amount of gratitude I felt the day that we closed that housing summit. And I'm grateful for leaders like Joy Alderete, leaders bigger. leading Hispanic housing. Housing initiatives that are committed to this community, that are committed to the viability, the sustainability, and the growth of our people, providing quality housing and affordable housing for all of our families. There are several projects that are coming into this community. Hispanic housing will soon break ground in a couple months on Division in California. Providing affordable housing units to families in our community. They're also going to make investments in building cost-effective homes for families to purchase. community and our housing sectors are committed to that very vision. In spring of 2022, the Teachers Village in the old Von Humble building will begin reconstruction. This initiative will provide affordable housing to teachers and school employees who work in this community. We are reversing, I want to say this clearly, we are reversing the process of spatial deconcentration. We're doing that by concentrating families that have been displaced due to gentrification. If you all have not realized it, we're all about intersectionality here. Without intersectionality, this law will not sustain any community. It won't. We can no longer talk about just one sector of work. We can no longer talk about what's wrong with public education if we're not talking about equitable housing. We can no longer talk about housing if we're not talking about economic development. We can't talk about any of these things unless everyone is at the table. And at the Puerto Rican agenda, we are proud to have everyone at the table. Today, we have the microcosm of possibilities to realize Puerto Rico Town, and elected officials, we thank you. We hope that Puerto Rico Town will be the model that other communities can emulate and add new dimensions to. This long stretch of La Division speaks to the small towns of Main Street, USA, commercial corridor districts that truly give life to a community. Today we celebrate, and tomorrow we return to work. So I cannot be more proud to continue to see this work through alongside all of you. And it's been quite the privilege to co-chair the Puerto Rican agenda alongside Mariana Osorio. Every leader in this room, because without you all, this work is quite impossible. And so thank you all for being here. Give yourselves a round of applause. We could not leave here today without ensuring that our governor did not take a little piece of Puerto Rico with him. On behalf of the Puerto Rican agenda, our local elected officials, and the museum, we present the governor with a Puerto Rican guayarera that we hope.